if you focus on this particular mindset when you're cold calling, your results will go through the roof, right? Everyone talks about bringing energy and bringing enthusiasm and doing your research and being prepared, and all of those things are great. But there's one thing and one thing only that if you focus on, your performance will go through the roof. And that is being focused on whether or not the person you're talking to has a problem that you can help them to solve. At the end of the day, that's the only thing that matters at the top of the funnel. So there are two key reasons for this, right? The first is that when you're focused on uncovering whether or not the person you're speaking to has a problem that you can help them to solve, it removes the roller coaster of emotions that typically comes about when you're cold calling, right? Everyone's experienced this, right? You get a connect and it's like, oh, haven't had one for a while. I need this, my target's depending on this. I need to book this meeting, right? And so you build up this internal pressure, this internal dialogue that kind of throws you off your game, right? Especially if you don't book it, right? You speak to the person, for whatever reason, it doesn't convert into next steps and you're left deflated. When you're focused on just identifying whether or not they have a problem that you can solve, you remove a lot of that, roller coaster of emotions. And the reason for that is because if they don't have a problem you can help them to solve, no problem, right? We had a conversation, we uncovered there wasn't a problem, that's fine, I'm on to the next one. Right? I achieved my objective on this call, which was to identify that, to answer that question for myself. And if they do have that problem and you've been able to uncover it, then the likelihood of you booking next steps or scheduling a meeting go through the roof. The second reason why this is the most important thing to focus on is that you'll actually end up having better conversations by being focused on this, right? So again, the way that most reps approach calls is that they're trying to push the prospect through their process, right? They want to turn this cold call into a meeting through whatever means possible. When you're focused on identifying whether or not they have the problem, you're digging, right? You'll be asking more questions. You'll be listening for nuance. You'll be digging in, you'll be asking follow-ups, right? You'll be getting into a more meaningful conversation back and forth with the person because you need to do that in order to uncover whether or not a problem exists. And as a result of that, you're going to end up having better conversations that will actually convert at a higher rate. So when you're making cold calls, don't focus on trying to book meetings. Instead, focus on trying to uncover whether or not the prospect has a problem that you can help them to solve. That's it, right? Remove the roller coaster of emotions, get into better conversations, and as a consequence of that, you'll end up booking more meetings, right? So focus on that. Do they have a problem that I can help them to solve? And do everything in your power to answer that question for yourself on as many calls as possible.